San Diego was on fire, the biggest fire in the county's recorded history. I had forgotten California had its earthquakes and mudslides, and was being forced to recall that it had its fires too. It had full fire seasons. My mother called me from my parents' office to alert me that her sister and family had been evacuated from their San Diego home. My mother told me that they were already en route to Los Angeles. I stepped outside, and the LA weather was postcard-worthy, with no sign of the billowing smoke 2 hours to the south. My extended family arrived in 2 cars. Both vehicles were filled with bags, overstuffed with clothing and toiletries. Jewelry boxes were left open on the seats. The large sepia family portraits that usually hung throughout their home were wrapped in dark blankets. I had recently packed up my life this haphazardly too. But from the moment of their arrival, my aunt and uncle began second-guessing what they had taken and what they'd left behind. I realized then I hadn't been experiencing this kind of rear-view reflection after leaving New York. It had been over a month, and I still couldn't think of anything I missed. By late afternoon, the horizon had shifted, and the Altadena sky had changed into a layer cake of gray oranges and browns. My aunt and uncle greeted me on their way into the kitchen, telling me how glad they were to see me, but they also beelined toward the electrical outlets, pulling out and plugging in their assorted digital media. In a matter of minutes, they had set up elaborate fire posts in 2 different rooms, glued to their minute-to-minute reports. The kids followed our grandmother back into her house, and I ducked away from the hubbub. After a while, though, my youngest cousin Elle broke off from the group. She caught sight of me in a slightly hidden corner of the backyard and scurried across the lawn in my direction. "Found you," she said, giggling, wrapping her impish arms around me. "You want to help me out with something, Cousin Lauren?" "I'd love to, Sweet Pea," I said, "but I guess it depends on what it is." Elle handed me a slim book with an illustration of Tinker Bell on the front. "Homework, silly," Elle said. "I need help with my homework." Elle and I were the only female grandchildren on this side of the family. We were almost 20 years apart, and we didn't see each other often. Whenever we shared the same roof, she would seek me out, usually with a project in mind. Baking, knitting. I had been more than happy to oblige in the past, but circumstances were different now, especially when it came to language. Maybe Elle hadn't realized that yet, but I was a little concerned about my abilities. "What's the assignment?" I asked. "Reading aloud," she said. "We take turns. I read a page, then you read the next." "Well," I said, looking down at my cousin's eager eyes, "we might as well try." Elle and I started to pass her book back and forth, both attempting to voice the words before us, but we were unable to achieve anything that resembled an easy tempo. My 8-year-old cousin and I were at the same reading level. On one of her pages, Elle got stuck on the word tarantula, and though I tried to correct her, the word proved impossible for me too. "Tarantella," I tried. "Tar." I sputtered like a car engine until the word finally rattled off my tongue correctly. "Tarantula," I said with triumph. But I noticed my young cousin didn't have the same recognition I had with the word. She frowned slightly. Her fingers meandered into her tangles, wispy twinges of green in her blonde hair, a permanent tint acquired by her near constant use of the pool in her backyard. That yard was currently still in the path of a massive fire, but Elle and I were focusing on issues that were much more pressing to us. "What is it?" Elle asked me. "This spatula." I linked my hands together and lunged at her as if my fingers were spider legs. "This is a tarantula." Gleefully dodging my tickles, Elle rolled down onto the grass where she found my pen and journal. "I have another idea," Elle said. "Do you think we can write a story together?" "Sure thing." I grabbed the pen from her. "You first, kiddo." Elle began by saying, "This is a story that is not about my brain. It is about Elle's brain." I stopped transcribing. What did Elle know about the aneurysm? What had she been told? At her age, it couldn't have been much. But she might have overheard some phone conversations, detected whispered concerns, picked up some key words. Elle was thinking about brains, but she had cast herself as the main character in that story instead of me. "Keep going," I said to her. "You tell me what happens, and I'll just write it down." Elle invented a fable about a girl named Elle. This girl had an impressive brain until the day it fell off of her body. She grew a new brain, and this one, my cousin emphasized, was humongous. But it failed her too. The Elle from the story continued to grow and lose these dispensable brains. And I loved the twists in Elle's storytelling. It was only after the girl actually died and became a ghost did she acquire her happily ever after. When we finished, Elle snatched the journal from me and looked at our combined effort. She flashed me a grin, displaying both the gaps in her mouth and her teeth in progress. Then she darted towards the kitchen. She wanted to gather the family together so everyone could hear her story.
Wow.